got Ramji Srinivasan.
Hi, Ramji.
Hi, Veer. Hi, Amol.
Yeah, then we have got Dr.
Hi.
Onkar Bigli from Bombay. He's the Ayurveda expert of the country.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
You're good. How are you, sir?
Very good.
And then we've got Mr. Varun Shivdasani from UK. He's the culinary nutritionist there. Welcome, Varun.
Hi, Varun.
How are you? You alright?
Hi, everyone.
Then the two stalwarts, Mr. Dasgupta and Mr. Amol Muzumdar.
They don't need introduction at all.
There's only-
Everybody knows them.
That's why I'm not doing that.
Please don't say stalwarts at all. One second. Deep Dasgupta is. There's no doubt about it.
और कोई मिला नहीं ना सवेरे से. You've been like really caught up with everything else, right? So finally you got your safety valve open now.
Right. So we'll just start this, and we'll see Sanath Jayasuriya joining in sometime. He has some social work. So we'll start. So let me start with Mr. Ramji Srinivasan, please. Ramji sir. So today the topic we have is basically about batsmen, the longevity and injury-free cricketing life. So the other day we talked about seamers, and then we are going to do a session on spin bowlers and wicket keepers. So basically in cricket we are trying to have all the arenas, and we'll have dietitians, nutritionists, Ayurveda, orthopedics, physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, all across, along with the experts of the cricket and the cricketers from now and the yesteryears, so that we can all accumulate and see what best can be discussed and how can we actually give this benefit to the people watching it and the latest players all across. So Ramji sir, my first question is, what are the important components of fitness for batsmen?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you again once more, Nishant, for the invite. Okay, let me get on to the topic straight away. Okay, as far as my understanding is concerned, as a strength and conditioning coach over a period of time, there are certain aspects of fitness which are very specialized to batsmen. And depending on, I would like to even dissect into, depending on its opening top order batsman or a middle order or a tail ender, the needs are different. I'm not going to embark on skill set because I'm not qualified to talk about it. I'm just going to go from the fitness angle. The important aspects of fitness, what batsmen require, I think it's an open secret. People know speed, agility, quickness, your balance, stability, explosive power, rotational power, and finally, very important aspect is your hand-eye coordination, reaction time, and your peripheral awareness. So these components play a very critical role in developing a batsman from fitness angle. Also, every batsman is different. Every batsman's style and approach is different. So you have to tailor-made things for every batsman according to whether it's a left-hander or an opening batsman or a right-hander, etc. Because you have to get into nuances to give them the best possible direction as far as fitness goes. Also, avoidance of injury. And in India, you know how so many players have lost their career because of injury. So, idea is to work on a holistic approach as far as a batter is concerned. What are the requirements? And dissect into the ratios of fitness needs. For example, the ratio of speed, agility, footwork, and quickness may be different from your explosive power, or your aerobic fitness, or your speed endurance, or your reaction time. So things have to be sorted out accordingly. And one of the critical, most important from my angle over a period of time, seen varied cricketers and varied sports person, everything is dependent on the eye. So when a professional cricketer is more proactive, the reaction becomes much quicker. So you have to work around those parameters on neuromuscular facilitation and coordination. which I feel it's been neglected quite a lot in our country, or anywhere in the world, I suppose. I'm not sure whether the Australians or South Africans or English people are doing certain exercise for hand-eye coordination, reaction time, and peripheral awareness with the data collection, because I've been involved with Formula One racing and other racing where loads and loads of reaction time and quicksilver thinking is required. Otherwise, you're a dead duck. So taking those parameters into crossover for batsmen especially plays a very critical role in prolonging his or her career. Batting is all about coordination and reaction time. So how fast you are able to see and react
Right.
matters quite a lot. So that is,
Very
as
important.
far as I'm concerned, you have to train smart than train hard.
Right,
And
sir.
also different formats of cricket needs different type of training protocols.
Hmm.
That's my take.
Fantastic, sir. So you talked about hand-eye coordination. Can you throw some light for some good advice to the budding cricketers on this hand-eye coordination?
Me? You're
Yes,
asking.
yes.
Oh, okay. There are loads of basic things can be done at home, and there are very, very high-end equipments can be used to collect and give you inference right away. In a fraction of a second, you will be able to get that information. There are drills which can be done on a budding cricketers to develop that hand to my eye, hand to my soccer will be eye to foot. Cricket is hand to eye. So idea is to work around that from basic level, get those parameters set first so that other parameters like speed, endurance and strength can be developed over a period of time. This is very critical, especially in the growing up stages. Especially the neural pathway is very well laid. That's what we call about muscle memory. Neural pathway is very well laid from the growing up stages till they are 14, 15. Then develop other faculties of fitness over a period of time. Then bring in those, there are various types of equipments available, which is used by top and elite athletes around the world, especially few athletes only have the access to some of the equipments used for hand-eye coordination and reaction, drill, peripheral awareness and reflex. Testing your reflex. There are many things available with empirical data. Nobody can fool on that. Exactly, it will tell you where you are and where you need to work on, how you have improved over a period of time doing those drills. This can be used as testing as well as training drills. For just a small add-on, he or she may be a supremely fit cricketer from fitness angle, but they are losing that time, the coordination and time to reaction that they may lose out on their career. I think Amol and Deepdas and Sanath may be able to throw more light into that because they have played at the highest level.
Correct.
They know exactly from coach's perspective, the fitness people have to come into play. It cannot be reversed.
Brilliant, sir. Brilliant. Thank you, sir. Amol, can you just, let us know, is the gym culture overdone or is it necessary for batting? What's your take on this?
Well, my take is very, very simple on that. Sometimes nowadays, especially, and now that I'm in coaching, I do a little bit of broadcasting as well. So I get a bird's eye view for with the modern day cricketer, and I sometimes feel that he's overloaded with information which is not needed. At times there was cricket being played before this, probably, what do you say, an overload of information that was that has been given to us, or the cricketers nowadays, which is not required. And cricket was played very nicely, and before that as well, and it would be played after this. So my take on that is very simple, that the gym culture, of course, you need to be supremely fit nowadays to play all three formats of the game. It's not easy, as Ramji very nicely put it, that there are different exercises that you can do, different fitness regimes that you can follow as a top order batsman, as a middle order batsman, as he said. agility, explosive power is important when you're playing the T20 format. So obviously, some bit of gym is required, but I still feel that cricket is a um, um, very skillful game.
Absolutely.
It is not like football. It's a very different game than any other sport. It's a very skillful game. So
Yeah.
my take on that is the youngsters should try and find a right balance between fitness,
Yeah.
which is a ground fitness, and
Yes.
improving their skill sets.
Fantastic. Superb. We all talk about the longevity in sports because now we have seen some players have been playing for 20 years, 15 years very easily, very effectively, thanks to Virat Kohli, who has focused a lot onto fitness as prime, talent secondary, and think that has been one of the major things. So let me take one advice from Dr. Onkar Bigli as well. Doctor, how is the concept of longevity in Ayurveda and how can sportsmen get help from this?
Yeah, thank you, Nishant bhai. Basically, just understand what is longevity. The longevity in simple sense is there's always a cell regeneration happening as time is ticking. Uh, we are not the same. Our skin is getting shredded. Our liver cells are changing. Our bone cells change every year. So there is an entire genesis happening every day. Our thoughts, lockdown, depression, our training programs, all are going to influence that. Your diet, of course, your nutrition is going to influence, your workouts are going to influence that very part or that very intelligence in the body, which can reproduce that cell again and again. Even if you are 40, if it's able to produce physically the same thing, you're going to be as agile as a 25-year-old. The problem is we lose that ability due to different aspects. Ayurveda gives a very spectacular view of the body. It talks about the 7 components which are interconnected and which also have the mind involved in it. So when we are talking about the reaction time here, uh, understand one specific thing. Uh, the top of the sport for me as a science, as a doctor, or as per anthropology, is hunting, and you need at 1/10 of a second. You need to be better at that. If you are better at that, you're going to be uh, excellent in whatever you want to do. Uh, and as neural pathways, and there are very simple techniques which have to be implemented at the grassroots level, because you get huge number of kids I see these days playing sport, and I feel you get missed on those few talents who don't have best of the training got to them very early. They get it very late, and you lose them. So there are basic yoga practices, basic Ayurveda stuffs in terms of massages and everything in terms of lifestyle, which can be incorporated with best of the present knowledge. The problem here is we are not aware, though it is an Indian science, people are not aware about this, how better a human can be physically and mentally at the same way. So that even at age of 40 or age of whatever you want to just I have seen players at age of 42 being as fit as a 25-year-old chap. So that is there. And again, the part of the left brain and right brain, you'll always have the left-handed batsman being more elegant because they are using the right side more, and uh, even the right-handed batsman who have some skill, some left-handed skills will always perform better because the neural pathways are that much more expressed in them. So these small things have to be taken care, so that if this thing in totality, because see, the kids are not going to start with proteins, they are going to have their dal chal. How to inculcate these habits to the parents who are actually bringing the kids to the coaches. All these small things, I think, will make huge difference. And trust me, then age will be just a number, and we will have our best of the players playing for as long as we want them to, until they fit in the team. Thank you.
Superb, doctor. Superb. Very informative, sir. So, Varun, I would like to come to you and understand a few things on the nutrition part because you handle a lot of professional sports persons in the world as well. But the most simplest question I would ask is hydration, especially in hot weather. Any tips you can give?
I mean, I don't know how cricketers do it. I mean, they wear all that gear, and sometimes we talk about weather before we started, and in 40 degrees to wear all of that. I mean, you know, people don't realize, but even in winter, you're perspiring. You're losing. Hydration is huge. I mean, there was a study many years ago, and it basically said that 1% dehydration equals to a 10% loss in performance. So, you know, the fact that I don't know if it can be a situation where, I mean, in football, the goalkeepers and, you know, they've got water bottles in the nets. You know, I don't know whether it's a situation where they can start putting bottles of water behind the wickets just for people to sip on every sort of 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know, but hydration is massive. You know, I mean, everyone's talking about concentration and talking about the nervous system and things like that. You know, sodium is so important for the nervous system. I remember years ago, like in the NFL, one of the things the sipper bottles on the side that they kind of drink, and you know, they have sensors on top of the bottles, and the sensors kind of take sweat from the upper lip and send real-time data back to Gatorade as to what kind of electrolytes and in what ratio the electrolytes are being excreted, because you and me excrete electrolyte differently, you know, and then Gatorade would then make tailor-made electrolyte replacement tablets for that player. So hydration is massive, you know. I mean, we're mostly made up of water, you know. So when you think about it, you know, as long as you're well hydrated, you're going to be doing well. And yeah, for me, hydration is massive. Start making sure you start in the game with a belly full of liquid, so you've got, you know, forget about a game. I mean, even training in the gym or anything, you know, just, you know, it's a big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I like to add what Varun has said. Way back in 90s, when Pete Sampras was in peak, you know, he had a sweat specialist stationed in Atlanta, and he used to design a specialized concoction according to the court where he played, which country he played, whether it's a clay court or a grass court or hard surface. Different concoctions were designed for him specially, and this was 25 years back nearly. Amazing technology has been used, and I think it has to be individualized. Everybody cannot take the same amount of isotonic drinks.
Exactly.
As Varun said, also you can have a bottle. Umpire can carry a Camelback water bottle.
I think it's got to change. I mean, when you think about it, like 40 degrees and you're wearing like pads and I mean, it's
helmet.
And the people don't realize. A lot of people don't realize how difficult the game is. We always make comparison between soccer or X, Y, and Z. Cricket has got its own difficulties. You know?
Of course. I mean, it's a sport. Okay, agreed. Everyone said it's a skill-based sport because it's unlike football where you're chasing a ball. In cricket, the ball's coming to you. You've got to field it. You're not really chasing the ball that much. I mean, a little bit here and there, but it's the small bits that it's hand-eye coordination, the explosive power, and you know, things like that. Running between creases, being able to dive. I mean, Jonty Rhodes, you know, being able to just, you know.
And the wicket keepers again. Amazing.
Wicket keepers, exactly.
Deep would be able to throw some light on that.
So I'm exactly coming to Deep the right time. So we will discuss on few technical things of cricket with Deep, Amol, and Ramji sir. So Deep, you know, the first and very basic question I want to ask about all these budding cricketers: how important is to use right batting gears for a batsman?
I think it's important. I think more than the gears, it's the bat, which is very, very important, because at an early age, if the weight of the bat is not right, you will get into bad habits. There are good chances that you'll get into bad habits. Equipments like pad, if the pad is not right, I mean, obviously, when you practicing cricket without all that gear, with just a bat, your flow is different. Once you put on your helmet, like your side on, once you put on a helmet, your chin can't touch your shoulder, then it'll be a little away from your shoulder. Same with the pads. If the pads are fluffy, then obviously the bat arc will change. The arc of the bat swing will change. Bat is heavy. So I think equipment wise, it's very, very important. It's extremely important, especially the bat. because I've seen a lot of youngsters. They go pick up a bat because it's not them, it's their parents. They pick up the bat and it's too heavy for a 8-year-old or a 10-year-old, and then they start getting into bad habits. So I think that way it's very very important, the equipment that you have.
Yeah. Amol, on a
Yeah.
similar note, on a budding cricketer, if a cricketer comes to you and normally talks to you, what would be your advice to them when it comes to batting on different wickets, like turning track, grass wicket, or slow wicket? What would be your advice to them?
Uh, well, it would be absolutely simple. First of all, they need to enjoy batting. If they enjoy batting, then the situation or even the ambience doesn't matter much. If you
Yeah.
enjoy batting, you can enjoy batting on a turning track. You can enjoy batting on a seaming track, and you can enjoy batting on a plastic track as well. So the conditions don't matter too much if you
Right.
love batting that much. So that is the core thing as far as a youngster is concerned. But yeah, you need to tweak a little bit according to the conditions. You just have to adjust to the conditions a little bit more. Be aware of things. Don't complicate things, but be aware of what are the surroundings. And I think basic thing is to enjoy what you're doing. Stay in the now moment. That's a very crucial thing. For longevity also, I would say that enjoying what you're currently doing is so very critical to prolong your career. If you don't enjoy it, then
Yeah.
you might as well cut short your career very early. You will cut short your
Yeah.
career. But I think staying in that now moment and enjoying the entire scenario is very critical as far as youngster is concerned.
Fantastic. Deep, I'll come back to you again. There are a lot of good batsmen who really perform very well in the country, but when it happens to go to South Africa, England, Australia, or West Indies, where we do have good seaming track, when it comes to fast bowlers, they all struggle. So again, your suggestion for a batsman to improve their ability to fast bowlers or swing bowlers?
Right. There are a couple of things. I mean, we keep talking about our batsmen going outside the subcontinent. I mean, how about the Australians coming over to India or the English coming over to India and handling spin? We never talk
Right.
about that. So I think it's going to happen. I mean, you are a product of your surroundings. I mean, your habits as anyone, not just as a cricketer. So I think, yeah, I mean, you're more comfortable on conditions that you've grown up on, and with time you mature and you find ways. So yeah, and when it starts swinging, mind you, I mean, pace and bounce, as far as cricketers nowadays, they don't have a problem because the way you practice on against bowling machines where you can crank up the speed. You have quality fast bowlers in domestic cricket as well in India. So I don't think bounce and pace is much of a problem. You've got the side armor as well, which is very quick. Now, across the world, the issue is when the ball starts moving around, when it starts deviating, whether it's spin or it is seam or swing. I mean, irrespective of which country you belong to. I mean, anywhere in the world, if it starts moving around, ball, fast bowler or spinner, you will have a problem. Quickly, I just wanted to add, we've got some experts here in Ramji and Varun and Amol himself, who's played for 20 plus years of cricket at the highest level. See, my point is, as cricketers and people from specialist fields like Doctor and Varun and Ramji, it's complicated. But the whole idea is to simplify it to the kid, right? If you're gonna go on and say, you know what, you need to do this, you need to do that, as Amol mentioned, I mean, you've got to simplify things. It is a complicated. I mean, human body is complicated, human mind is complicated. But the whole idea of people in specialized field is to simplify it and transfer that information forward, not make it more complicated. That's one of the things. The other thing, listen, we at the highest level, all the things which are very, very important, what we call the 1%ers. But that 1%er will not help you if you don't have the other 99%, which is skill. So yes, those 1%ers are very, very important to make the difference between winning and losing at the highest level. But before you get to that 1%ers, the other 99% is very, very important as well. And that's my take on it.
Well, I
Fantastic.
would just, Nishant, if I can come in, and I
Come
would
in.
just
Please
like
come in.
to,
Please come in.
yeah, no, just to add on to that point about playing in swinging conditions, playing in New Zealand, in England, we counter that. I mean, in the last 10 years or so, if you can take roughly, I'm saying, I'm not pinpointing on 10 years, just roughly, if you can take 10 years, then every visiting country has struggled. Say, for example, Australia comes to India, they struggle against the spin bowling. England comes to India, they struggle here. We go to England, we've been struggling. So I feel it's about time that India and BCCI takes a lead in this and becomes a torch bearer of eradicating this history of 10 years of visiting sites. And we become the first, not the first team, but we become a torch bearer in that sense, because we do have the skill set, we do have the infrastructure, we can create the environment around, and we produce the results of eradicating these away series losses. It's about time, it's high time, and I think we do have the capacity to do it. It's only getting all the ABCs done correctly.
Super.
If I
Super.
may
Very
add
nice.
to what
Yes,
Amol
please.
said, right? Sorry, quickly I'll add is it is happening. It is already happening. For example, in India, in the last series against South Africa, if you remember, there were a couple of green tops because India's strength used to be spin, so you would always play at home on turning tracks. But suddenly, because India's strength is not just spin anymore, you've got quality fast bowlers,
Yes.
so you're preparing those kind of pitches, right? Australia will also start producing turners. England will start producing turners if spin becomes their strength. Listen, when Swan and Monty were playing together, I mean, there weren't too many green tops. There were, a good balance between green tops and turners. So it again boils down to that. And Amol and we've been part of the domestic broadcast system for a while. And last 4 or 5 years or before that, a lot of domestic cricket is being played on green tops. So there is a positive side to it, which obviously is your domestic cricketers are getting used to batting on those surface. But there's a flip side. That is, you're losing your spinning talent. I mean, Amol actually now covers more domestic and sees more domestic cricket than me. But that is an area where I believe we are struggling just a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't say struggle. That's an area of concern in terms of
No, struggle. That's correct.
All right, all right, Amol. So there is. I mean, it's very difficult to get that balance going. Is what I'm trying to say here. So you've got to be very, very careful how you approach this whole issue.
Yeah. Superb. So I'll come to Ramji sir again. Fitness test, which has been ignored so far in cricket. Point 1. Yo-yo, the only fitness test necessary for batsmen or all cricketers? Your platform now.
You are trying to put me in a fix.
Yeah, purposely.
But it's okay. It's okay. I like to speak my mind out on this because being
Please
a
do that.
professional, I
Do
cannot
that.
shy out from my opinion on this. Okay. Coming to fitness testing for batters, that's the first question, isn't it?
Yes.
Fitness testing for batters have to be, especially from under 12 onwards, the protocols will be different. They're talking about senior and professionals. The testing has to be different for batters or a bowler or a spinner or a pacer or a wicket keeper because the energy systems are different. The skill set is different. So one need to understand the mechanics of movement and design a testing accordingly. You have a base parameter set and then build on that. What is specific for a wicket keeper may not be specific for a fast bowler or a spinner. How do you segregate that? You need to have data. You need to have inference fallback on. So idea is to specialize the testing protocols according to the skill and have a base parameter like aerobic fitness as a base parameter, your speed and agility as base, flexibility, core strength and stability. These things you have as a base parameter and then build on speciality. That's for the professionals. As I completely endorse Deep's point of view and Amol's point of view is, in the initial stages of training, keep things very, very simple. Let them work on their skill set, and fitness is like a pickle, add on. It cannot be a main meal. skill is fitness is just an add-on. Cricket is fully skill and mind. So let them develop that faculty first, and this can be added on at any stage. That can be plugged in. So coming back to fitness for testing for space, I mean for cricketers, it has to be specialized. If we are talking about specialty, your need for T20 is different from a need for a test match players.
Yeah.
You know, why do you do the same test?
True.
How is it going to benefit? You know,
Yes.
some don't play test match at all. They want to play only T20. They don't want to play longer format. No point testing them. You are testing an IIT student for IIM exam.
No, in the world, no, in the world of I mean, we've moved on. I mean, we are specialized, in every aspect of the game. Whether it's spin bowling, whether it's fast bowling, whether it's wicket keeping or opening batsman, we do have the T20 format. We do have IPL franchises. So why have just one parameter for everyone?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's in today's day and age, it's ridiculous. I feel to have that
Absolutely.
one parameter. We
Yeah.
can have
Amol stole
different
my
tests.
thunder.
No. I'm sorry, Ramji. I
No,
thought you
you hit
finished.
the nail on the head. you hit the nail on that. I was coming to that. Absolutely true. Because you are just testing one parameter of fitness, just an
Yes.
fitness. How can you can pass in all? You can pass in physics, then you are passed in chemistry, biology, mathematics, English, your language as a science student. Just an example. No,
Yeah.
as Amol said and Deep said, it has become very specialized. Cricket has become very specialized. One test is one size doesn't fit all. And also, we have to be very open and blunt about it. If somebody fails in fitness testing, then we use it as a matter of convenience, or fitness and skill can be used as a matter of convenience when we need it. Set a base standard from under 12 onwards. You know, this is a basic standard, how the soccer or other sport sets in. One test doesn't give a comprehensive figure or a, what do you call, the result for an entire team. I completely endorse that point of view because they have played at the highest level, and Amol and Deep has played to the most difficult situations, and they have seen the cricket grow over the last 2 decades. You know, so this cannot be. I completely disagree with that. End of the day, it's a management and the skipper's call. I'm just an outsider. You know, as a professional, I can tell this point of view. That's it.
Correct. So we all know that at one place a person has to bat for 90 overs, and second place you get only 120 balls to finish all the game. So it's all about mental.
Can I
it's all
just
about how
add
your mind
quickly,
works.
Nishant, if that's all right?
Yes. Yeah. Please go on.
You know, how I look at fitness tests, obviously, I mean, I completely agree with Amol, Ramji, that obviously it can't be one size fit all. But how I look at fitness test is, let's say 16.2 was the yo-yo fitness level. 16.2 is not tough. I mean, 16.2 is, I mean, listen, I'm sure Ramji and Varun, looking at them, and Amol, obviously, you guys will do 16.2. So for me, fitness test is a test of your commitment. It's more than fitness. Whether are you committed enough or not towards the team, towards the team's culture, and it's that. It's nothing more than fitness. I believe it's strengthening mentally and your commitment levels. If you're committed to add to the team's success, you will do everything which is possible and live up to the team's culture. So, I mean, come on, and 16.2, I mean, come on, Ramji will tell you how difficult 16.2 is.
No, but
16.1 is a child's play, totally, because it's a very basic level. Absolutely.
no, Deep.
Yeah,
What I'm trying to say is that it's not about yo-yo test 16.1. What I'm trying to say here is you need to have different tests. Say, for example, if we do have an off spinner in the team and a left arm spinner in the team, you have tests for spinners, a different test for spinners. You have a different test for fast bowlers who's running in about 30 yards and then bowling the ball. Spinner is bowling with 4-5 paces. He's just turning up and he's bowling the ball. If batsman has to run between wickets for 90 overs, he needs different fitness level.
Right.
and wicketkeeper needs
Now,
different.
Amol,
fitness
I
levels.
agree. I'm not saying
I'm
anything
just
about
saying,
that. Yeah,
I'm just saying, have parameters done for
yeah.
everything, but have different fitness tests for different aspects of the game.
Right. No, the point I'm trying to make here is, for me, fitness tests are a test of commitment and
Yeah,
not
I agree.
really fitness. You know what I'm saying? It's how
Okay.
committed are you towards your profession. I mean, listen, we are all a professional,
Fair
right? And it's about
Yeah.
your commitment towards your profession and nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I just say something?
Varun,
Just
yes, Varun, come in. Varun, come in, please.
just based on what I've heard, yeah, from everybody from Deep and Amol and from Ramji, I think there's just a couple of things that clicked in my head. One is you guys, and it's totally different. I work majority of my life with football, not with cricket, but as far as every day, there's an entirely different set of people in football. For goalkeepers, for defenders, for forwards, for midfielders, and the types of tests that are done every day for each of those is totally different on a daily basis. The warm-ups are different, the testing is different, including physiotherapy. So it's sort of like the reach test, and everything's totally different. So, but the second thing I wanted to kind of say is, I mean, obviously I don't know what happens in cricket, but the second thing was the concept of focusing on developing the skill. I totally agree with it, but what I don't agree with is I think it is important with the youth to at least start establishing the habits, because if that's the biggest challenge. When you the minute you start focusing on all of that and not on the, as you say, Deep, on the 1%. Of the marginal gains. We're not doing tailor-made electrolytes. We're not talking about that, but it's important to get the habits in, because otherwise what you end up having is kids who only, listen, don't get me wrong, there's kids coming into football who all they want to do is play football. They don't want to do everything else. But when they get, and let's say they make it to the level where they're in the under 19 squad at Man United, they get to that point, and then suddenly they have to realize that oh my God, hold on, I've got to meet in with a nutritionist, I've got to eat this way, and I've got to go to my cooking classes and understand how, if I'm cooking on my own, if I have my mom's cooking, all of this stuff, and then they bombard with it, and then it becomes overwhelming. And it's the habit of them embracing the fact that they need to live a certain lifestyle that is important, not just the skills. I think absolutely the skills are fantastic. The focus on that is fantastic, because that's what cricket is. It's a skill-based sport. But it's making sure they understand and actually have healthy habits leading towards, especially nutrition, in my opinion. I mean, that's what I do, but is massive. You can't suddenly get to things and say, oh, hold on a second, you can't eat naan bread anymore. And they go, hold on a second, that's all I've eaten for the last 15 years of my life, and suddenly you tell me I can't eat it anymore. So
yeah. So can I, Varun, what I'm trying to say, what I was trying to say then was, I'm not saying you don't do that, right? Obviously, you've got to. I mean, from a very early age, you've got to teach kids the basic about exercises, about the technique. You can't have, I mean, squats and lunges, the basic technique stuff and all that. So that's important. So nutrition, I completely agree with you. But of late, what is happening? I see morning sessions. So let's say a team has 2 sessions. They start with training, and then the skill comes after the training session. Those things are something that I'm averse to. I'm like, skill first, and then, I mean, listen, the difference for as far as I'm concerned, the reason why you're getting out in 30s is predominantly because you're not fit enough, both physically and mentally, right? I mean, chances are when you're set and you're batting on 30s and 40s, you should be set enough and take your innings further up. But the problem is, you're not, because you're physically not fit, you can't convert your 30s to 80s and your 80s to 180s, right? So I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, I mean, skill is something that you have to do first, and then simultaneously, and cricket is a lifestyle sport. It's a sport where you're on the field for 7 hours a day, right? So it's a lifestyle. It's a change in lifestyle as a sports person, which automatically would mean your training, your nutrition, your skills, and everything else is all I'm saying. I mean, that's the point I was trying to make.
okay,
Good. Thanks.
I'd like to add just a small codicil to it.
Please.
As far as the physical parameters are concerned, nothing has been quantified at as far as cricket is concerned. Because as Deep and Amol said, it's a skill set, lot of skill set, fitness adding on to it. And in India, I think we should take the owners and set up specialty, what we call testing protocols and assessment and collect data for our players, because we are different. Our food habits are different, our genetic loading is different, and the facilities are different, and the background, what sort of background of cricketers coming from, and we cannot take directly from Australia, South Africa, or England their research protocols, because there are so many variables. We have to design things according to our Indian thing, and we set the lead. Let them follow us.
True.
Nothing wrong.
No, Ramji sir, just a couple of things from here and there. So what habits Varun was talking about is, if we can give even kids, if we give them right purpose from beginning, because when you're talking about things like just keep, there are thousands of budding young cricketers who I see who come to me for consultations. But if the purpose is identified, then only you can inculcate habit changes. You can't directly shift their diet from young age. They want to have their candy, they want to have their sweet stuff. So the purpose comes in good, and eventually you can take them to habits. That's my one input. And when we are talking about skills, what happens? One of the key aspects what we forget is not to get carried away with the purpose part. Because once I see here kids practicing a certain shot for 1,000 times, I realize that is important. But as Amol also said, that one has to enjoy that part. When a neural pathway is actually becomes your muscle memory, when that actually happens, when you sleep, when you rest.
Is it? Okay.
When you rest, and what happens? What exactly? Because these kids are so much connected with the coach. Even you want anything, that thought process, you should rest well, and next day he won't get out on that shot. But if you press hard onto him to just make that shot 1,000 times because someone in down under is doing that way, it's not going to help. You understand one very, I'm just getting derooted for a half 30 seconds. I'll just understand the molecular structure of carbs makes us stay long on the scorchy sun. It's a helical structure of starch. It holds water. You can't drink. Our batsmen don't drink water every 5 minutes. लेकिन वो थोड़ा rice खाता है. He has that rice which holds the water and the nutrition across. And that helical structure is one of the key, because it keeps the brain evolving. To go linear is very easy. Anthropology wise, as you are evolving genetically, to go straight is very easy. Protein molecule is a straight linear molecule. You'll always find tough players coming from or such orientation which have high proteins, but skillful player will always be a rice eater or a wheat eater predominantly. Don't take away. Yeah. You take it. These are simple things which we don't want to study. We want everything coming from West. Ayurveda is there. I'm not saying we'll make 100% difference, but what sadly we have been given eyes. We just see what it is in front of us, and the entire oblivion is we are not seeing that part. But small inputs. I am not saying to have a great input, but small inputs will make huge difference. And that's so the skill part, the purpose part, and the diet part, when taken all in consideration, you can achieve as per whatever protocol you set for someone. We can see to it that player can actually achieve that.
It has to be a holistic approach. It cannot be an individual approach. As far as cricket comes, Onkar, cricket is a different ball game, or literally a different ball game altogether compared to other sports. Because no other sport you see where you allow 4 different skills in a game. Cutting across multi-sport. I have been training 5 sports in top athletes from Olympic athletes now. But every time you train a cricketer, it amazes me. There is so much in-depth skill set involved. And for them, as Amol and Deep said, keep it simple. There is a parlance, they say, dog should wag the tail should not wag the dog.
Yeah.
Very important. Skill set first, and we are all supports. That's why we are called support staff. Coaches are the main. Coach is the key.
Of course.
Right. So bringing in all the support staff, your diet and nutrition, biomechanist, exercise physiologist, sports scientist, you name it all, they're all like pickles.
Yes.
So correct combination of pickle with good either chapati or rice makes a good
Right.
meal.
Yeah, deep coming, deep.
No, I mean, see, my only point is we as a society are also evolving now, right? I mean, butter is bad irrespective whether you're playing a sport or you're not playing a sport. I mean, overdoing butter or fried food and all, junk food is bad for everyone, irrespective of what you're doing, what your profession is. Like, for example, when I was growing up, I mean, at least for me, training was running for 45 minutes an hour, right? And the first root shock I got was actually when I started playing for India. I mean, my first gym session, and I was running on the treadmill. John Wright came and started running next to me, and I ran for 45 minutes. And I said, "Ki John, see you later." And he's like, "Are you finished with your training?" I was like, "Yeah, I ran for 45." He's like, "Listen, my brother who works 9 to 5, he runs for 40 minutes. So as a professional cricketer, what extra have you done?" So obviously, I mean, those things are changing in our society. Our society was never sporty. The generation before us, generally speaking, was not sporty. This generation is getting more sportier, and that would mean nutrition, training habits.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, listen, I go to the gym, I feel at times, I feel really, really kind of depressing because, I mean, a normal guy was doing more training stuff than what I did as a cricketer, man. So I mean, things are changing. So, I mean, it's a lifestyle change which we are witnessing and which we should be encouraging, irrespective of whether a kid plays any sport or not.
Just a small add-on.
Yeah,
Just a small.
let
Just
me,
I won't take much
Ramji
time.
sir, let me welcome Sanath Jayasuriya as well. 12,000 runs, 300 wickets, most valuable player of 1996.
One
Welcome,
second.
Sanath.
I guess he's not able to hear. 1 second. He's just trying it.
Okay, Ramji sir, you continue. We'll welcome him again then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. As Deep said, and I completely agree. There is a process of evolution. You know what? It was not there 10 years back. The guys are much fitter. 10 years
Yeah.
down the line, you will find ambidextrous cricketers.
Yeah.
You'll have much fitter. You see around the world, last 20 years, see the number of
Yeah.
world records broken. Guys have become fitter and stronger because of
Correct.
lots of other things. Sports nutrition has increased. The science of sports science has increased. Biomechanics have come in. Lot of faculties have come in. All over the world, world records have been broken. And next 10 years, you'll see a huge evolution. I
Fantastic.
expect loads of ambidextrous cricketers.
Dr. Bigli, I'm coming to you. You have to give one option into injury prevention. How is Ayurveda useful in injury prevention?
As per Ayurveda, if one has to play as long as you can, you should just follow the gut cleansing technique. Trust me, guys, it's going to age is just going to be a number for you then, and you're going to perform. There won't be trigger points, and Ramji, it's my research, right? So that's the secret what Ayurveda is giving to. So we are helping major league players. We are helping people from abroad who are more open to listen to Ayurveda rather than Indians, because it's too close to us. So, but trust me, Nishant bhai, if the gut thing is taken care, the enemas which are easy to do, and in it which can be done under the or entire VADA restrictions, because VADA becomes really important, because these cricketers are treasure, and one has to take care of it in the right way, but one has to be open towards these things, because these are very subtler methods. They have been used for thousands of ages to make your joints strong, your core more efficient, your digestion and absorption of nutrients. You might be having best of nutrition, but they might not get absorbed every time. So gut cleansing is the best way going ahead, where you can maintain your body weight. It won't bother your body cholesterol. It will keep your muscles in top shapes, and the wear and tear of your bones and joints would be much lesser.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Quickly coming to Amol again. Amol, your 2 decades of cricket with no major injury. So, what's the secret of that?
सीक्रेट कुछ नहीं था, भागते रहो. To be honest, the thing is, as I said earlier, it was very simple time where we grew up in Mumbai. Very simpler times. Uh,
Yeah.
as I was not overloaded with information, as I've been saying this for a while, 1970s and late 70s and early 80s was a time where we hardly knew anything. Just as Deep said, running was a basic thing. I ran on the beach quite often. Luckily for me, I was staying in Mumbai, very close to the beach, so use the beach to good effect. And I made sure my core was strong. So those two things, um, and the third one, two things for my fitness, my physical fitness, and the third one for my mental fitness was I was happy when I was on the ground. I was happy when I was batting. And
Fantastic.
I knew that as a young player coming up as an under 16 player, I knew that the best place that I was mentally and by my heart, I was happy when I was on the ground batting. So I never left it.
Fantastic.
I didn't want to go back in the dressing room. Those
Fantastic.
were the three things which kept me going.
Superb. Welcome, Sanath. We are welcoming you. I was just telling, we are
Thank
welcoming
you.
at 12,000 runs, 300 wickets, the most valuable player of 1996, the chairman of selection committee, the member of parliament of 2010. How are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. Sanath, on our panel, we have got Mr. Amol Muzumdar from Mumbai, Mr. Deep Dasgupta from Calcutta, Mr. Ramji Srinivasan from Chennai, Dr. Onkar Bigli is Ayurveda expert from Bombay, and Mr. Varun Shivdasani is culinary nutritionist from UK. So we
Yep.
basically talk about batsmen, longevity, and injury-free cricket life. So we had few discussions. We almost missed you for first few minutes. So
Yep.
I would straight away take a couple of questions with you to conclude the session. One is, how does an injury affect your performance? What's your view in this?
Uh, I think what I hear was what about the injuries? Is it how going to
Injury
affect in your
yeah,
the cricket?
affecting the performance.
Yeah, of course. It's when you're injured, it's effective. Going to affect your performance for sure. So make sure that you're fit. Make sure injury free most of the time. So I don't know now it's last about 10 years a lot of cricket being playing, and the players tend to get injured more often. That is very unfortunate, but the the, the cricket they are playing is so much the T20 cricket and test cricket and 50-over cricket, it's a lot. So it's the body can't handle it sometimes. So the body also needs a little bit of rest to recover the natural way. But unfortunately, right throughout the year, now the players have been playing. So what I feel, if you want to perform, make sure that you need to be fit.
Very good, sir. So one question from me, and then I'll ask my panel if they have any questions. What should a batsman do to improve their big hitting abilities, and what part must be strong for playing big strokes? Because we have seen you changing the trend of the first 15 overs of the game. So your suggestions will be really vital.
Yeah, what I hear was you asking the question how to perform in your
big hitting abilities, basically. How to improve that?
It's big hitting ability, Nishant, always comes from in your natural way of playing cricket. You can't come like when you play, starting your cricketing career when you play in school cricket. Like example, my coach realized that I'm a cricketer who playing a little bit of attacking cricket, big hitting cricket. The other cricketers are my schoolmates are indifferent. So the make sure that your coach let you play your natural game. My coach would have said, no, you have to play like the other cricketers. But no way. He let me play the way I was playing. So I continue that way until playing my school cricket. Then in Sri Lanka way of playing, it's a club cricket. So I played club cricket, that my natural way of playing cricket. And even I didn't change the way, the attitude, even when I come to international cricket. So
Fantastic.
it depends. I hope the young cricketers should never change their natural way of playing cricket.
Yes. Do our panel have any questions we can ask to Sanath, or else we'll go to the concluding question?
On a lighter note, how come Sanath became more bolder than me? Hi, Sanath. I'm seeing you after a long time after Mumbai Indians.
Hi, how are you?
Good, all good. Just a lighter note. Hope all well and take care. And
Yeah, we all
nothing much.
stay inside at the moment, so
All inside, yeah.
that's how. Yeah, so that's the way at the moment in the whole world. And special day for us in Sri Lanka as a Buddhist. It's the Vesak day
Purnima,
we
yes.
call. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the celebration of birth of Buddha. So it's a
Oh,
big day for Sri Lankans as a Buddhist. So so
best
still
wishes.
well celebrate inside home.
Happy
Oh, I
Buddha
know.
Purnima, Sanath.
Happy
With
celebrations.
your family.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much.
So just one question to everyone before we finish. For a budding cricketer, for a cricketer who's looking on to playing bigger formats of the game, looking to play the biggest platform, what would be one advice you will give during this lockdown? They can try and think and improve once everything becomes normal. Deep, can I start with you?
Right. I'd say this. You will not get this time back. I mean, this is a very unique time. You've got, what, 30, 40 days to actually think about yourself, where you want to go, what changes you want. Once the lockdown opens up, life will be back to some kind of normalcy, and you will not have this time. And this time is very, very precious. You're sitting at home, you have all the time in the world. Just use it as well as you can, because you're not going to get this back.
Superb. Amol, your point on this, please.
Well, I would just like to tell all the youngsters that we grew up in an era where there used to be an off season, something called off season.
Yeah.
So treat this like an off season where we didn't do anything about it. I mean, you couldn't do anything. In Mumbai, it used to rain cats and dogs, so
Yeah.
you couldn't do anything. It was an off season. So treat this like an off season. Luckily, in today's day and age, you do have an off season. Treat it that way and move forward.
Fantastic. Varun, your advice on nutrition to people who are indoor, the cricketers or the sportsmen indoor, and how to behave when it comes to normal?
Well, I mean, it just goes back to the previous point about establishing good habits. Making sure that if whatever form of exercise you're doing, whether it's yoga or whether it's doing an indoor gym workout using resistance bands or whatever you're doing, making sure that you're establishing good habits of fueling, good habits of recovery.
Very nice.
And it's the recovery. I mean, it's not the activity itself. It's the recovery where that's almost as, if not more important, because it's post-workout. What you do after that, that's going to determine, how much repair is happening in your body. Things like rest and sleep and hydration, all of those things. Without them, your body's not recovering. And if it's not recovering, it's like your windscreen. If your windscreen's got a small crack on it, you don't take care of that little crack, soon it just becomes a big shatter and it becomes a massive injury. So establishing good habits, and especially during this lockdown, and using this time to maybe going to see a nutritionist to get something like just a food recall to see how you're eating and your eating patterns and whether that supports the type of training that you are doing in the position that you're doing, whether you're a fielder or a batsman or a bowler or a fast bowler or a spin bowler. Ascertaining what your caloric expenditure is, just basic stuff like that, and how many calories you need, to support everyday function, whether you play or not. Just enough to wake up and go to the toilet is important. Yeah.
Can I quickly ask a question to Varun, if that's all right?
Yes, please go on.
Varun, a lot of people are talking about improving your immunity system during this period to fight whatever is out there. What do you suggest in terms of nutrition-wise to improve immunity? If you can just help at least us out.
You need. We actually had a session on this. I think on one of the previous webinars, and I mean Onkar will talk to you about gut health, but without a good intestinal flora, you're not going to be absorbing the nutrients you want. You might be eating it, but your body may not be getting those nutrients. But gut health is massive, obviously. But I personally have a multivitamin supplement every day just to top up what I need to, where I may be deficient, because immunity has nothing. Your macros, your carbohydrate, protein, and fat is all about energy and repair and all of that. It's the micronutrients, your vitamins and minerals that are looking after all the other functions. So with immunity, there's tons of obviously old research about zinc and iron and selenium and your fat soluble vitamins A and D. You guys are lucky to have sunshine where you are most of the year. With vitamin D, we start supplementing with vitamin D sometimes as early as October all the way into March and April. So because there's no sunshine. So vitamin A, D, zinc, selenium. Listen, if you have a multivitamin mineral supplement, it checks off a box, and you're just taking off a box saying, you know what, I've got my micronutrients for the day, which help my immune system.
Thanks.
Fantastic.
No worries.
Yeah. Dr. Bigli, now I would like to have your thoughts on what the youngsters should do during the lockdown and how to behave when it's normal after that.
So just to carry forward from what Varun said, apart from that's the best thing, just get any multivitamin with selenium and zinc and all those things in right proportion. Apart from that, one very natural thing, that turmeric, honey, pepper, please guys, just quarter teaspoon turmeric every day with honey is going to help you to keep your immunity at least up there, because there are now even a MedCheck paper. It's a very renowned journal which talks about how cytokine surge in the present scenario can be tackled by turmeric. So please stick to that. And if you see specific guys for batsmen during lockdown, please learn how to meditate. Meditate to your century, meditate to your whatever the way you want to play. Just sit down and at least from 5 to 12 minutes a day. You call it visualization, you give it a very fancy name, but I'll call it a simple meditation, a desi style. Do it. It's going to help you to, on that critical note, when you are being pressurized on the field, it's going to help you. This moment is going to help you to reach from 0 to 30 and then to 50, and then in your critical times, or just it's going to be the key. That Zen time, if you can cultivate during this lockdown, is going to help you to handle more pressure.
Superb. Ramji sir, your thoughts on lockdown and post-lockdown tackling?
You've spoken about it. I think, as Amol said, think like an extended off-season, maybe 1.5, 2 months or 2.5 months. And very critical thing is to follow a good diet regime, get your diet regime on check. Second one is keep changing the workout schedules. Never follow the same schedule more than 21 days. Because it's a 21-day cycle, you step it up and don't allow plateauing of your fitness levels. Keep challenging at every stage so that there is progression at the end of the lockdown, and carryover will be easier onto the field. As I told earlier, maybe 1 month back, we need at least minimum of 3 to 4 weeks of conditioning and training before you start onto the game. So I think that will be easier once you start progressing over a period of time, and keep changing the schedule. Get a professional advice from your strength and conditioning coaches and nutritionists and the physios, etc. If you're going through rehab work or skill specific work with the coaches, So kindly consult a professional and keep stepping it up every level. Don't flat off.
Important. Very, very nice. Thank you. Sanath?
Yeah.
Yeah, just the last bit, an advice for the budding cricketers during the lockdown, what they should do when it comes to the normal situation, how should they handle that?
Uh, Nishan, I think we all should realize that how uncertain is the world about. You can't plan any more things now. We never realized this type of things before. So it's a good lesson for the cricketers that the world is very uncertain. So to think that, I think this is the best time to cricketers or any sports person to think wherever you are, and like the previous guy said, the meditation is the best thing to do, and that gives you some kind of the willpower to this generation of cricketers during this lockdown. So the meditation and whatever your I'm as a Buddhist, my way of life is very simple, and that's life is I applied all this time. So that's very easy when I come out of this situation, how to face the world and how to live. So the cricketers, the sportsmen should realize, meditate a lot. You can go to more towards the way towards your religion habits, to do more on that. And visualization is very important as a sportsman, what you should do when you come out. So before that, you can do a lot of visualization, and the work on a meditation part is very important.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanath. Thank you,
Thank you
Veer.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramji sir.
Thank you, Nishant. Thank you,
Thanks,
Amol. Thank
Amol.
you,
It was
Veer.
very
Thank
important
you,
session
Onkar. Thank
and
you,
very interesting.
Varun.
Thank you.
The legend.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Varun.
Sanath.
Thanks, Onkar.
Take care.
Thank you.
See you
Take
soon.
care.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys. Thank you. Take
Stay
care.
safe,
God
guys.
Thank
bless.
you all.
Take
Thank
care.
you,
Yeah.
Nishant.
God
Thank
bless.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nishant, and goodbye, everyone.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
In advance. Bye.
Bye.